So there's a guy named Billy Johnson who is going to do a video. It's a very snazzy little video, and he's going to do this as a commentator for the NRA. You know what the video is called? Quote, "Everyone gets a gun." Woohoo! Shocking that the NRA, who basically represents gun manufacturers, would want everyone in America to have a gun. Help sales a little bit. Now, concentrate on what he's saying here in the video. Watch.
As a country, we have an education policy. Imagine if that policy was about limiting who has access to public education. As a country, we have a far-reaching public parks program. Imagine if that program was designed to limit who has access to those parks. As a country, we have labor policies designed to ensure that people are given access to jobs regardless of gender, race, or creed. Imagine if that policy withheld certain types of jobs as only the purview of the government elite. The point is that as a country, we often write policy to protect access to something: education, parks, jobs. But for one of the most important protections, a constitutional right, we write policy designed to limit access.
So it sounds like, look, there's nice graphics. He's talking about other rights, and this is a right. Now wait till you see where he takes it. Watch.
We don't have a U.S. gun policy. We have a U.S. anti-gun policy. Our gun policies are designed around the assumption that we need to protect people from guns, that guns are bad or dangerous. But what would happen if we designed gun policy from the assumption that people need guns, that guns make people's lives better? Let's consider that for a minute. Gun policy, driven by people's need for guns, would seek to encourage people to keep and bear arms at all times. Maybe it would even reward those who do so. What if, instead of gun-free zones, we had gun-required zones? Gun policy driven by our need for guns would insist that we introduce young people to guns early, and that we'd give them the skills to use firearms safely. Just like we teach them reading and writing, necessary skills, we would teach shooting and firearm competency. It wouldn't matter if a child's parents weren't good at it. We'd find them a mentor. It wouldn't matter if they didn't want to learn. We would make it necessary to advance to the next grade.
Wow, did you just hear that? So we're not only going to just teach math and English and science, etc. in the schools, we're not going to teach you to shoot your kids how to shoot a gun. It doesn't matter if you're opposed to it. It doesn't matter if he's opposed to it. It's mandatory. It's mandatory that we give guns to every kid in school. He talked about not gun-free zones. He said, quote, gun-required zones. You must have a gun in the school. This is insanity, man. They've gotten to a point where they're like, hey, man, what can't we get away with? I mean, 93% of Americans were for a federal background check, so we would make sure that lunatics and criminals and terrorists didn't get guns, and we defeated that, even though 93% of Americans were in favor of it. Maybe we can go further, we've already taken away all the gun control. Maybe we can make people buy a gun. But that's exactly what he's saying. He said, look, everybody knows guns make our lives better, except for when they end them. But that, outside of that little problem, he said people should be required to have guns at all times. They should be rewarded for having guns with them at all times. Well, he's got an idea of how they should be rewarded. We're not done with this madness yet. One more.
Gun policy driven by the assumption we need guns would probably mean our government would subsidize it. I mean, perhaps we would have government ranges where you can shoot for free, or a yearly allotment of free ammunition. Sound crazy? Think about it. Education, healthcare, food, retirement. We subsidize things we value. Gun policy driven by our need for guns would protect equal access to guns, just like we protect equal access to voting and due process and free speech. Our founding fathers believed that we did need guns. That's why they codified our access to guns into the Constitution. But the idea of a gun policy that does justice to their intentions sounds ridiculous. What does that say about us?
It says we're rational human beings. Really? You're going to subsidize guns? Like, well, man, we need to give that person food because they're starving in the streets. We don't want them to die, right? Well, I mean, that poor guy, he doesn't even have an AR-15. Let's give all the poor and everyone else AR-15s. That's a great idea. Let's give all the homeless weaponry. Nailed it, nailed it. Gee, I wonder if they're working for gun manufacturers. They want subsidies, the government to pay for guns for everyone, including every person in society and your kids. You think the NRA represents gun owners? No, they represent gun manufacturers. And they are now brazen. They think they run the place. They can do anything they want. So now they're saying, hey, you know what? Since we own the government, let's make them buy all of our guns and give it to everybody in the country. Wow.